I love when we get a creature vampire, not the charming, have sex with everyone kind of vampire, or the sparkling kind. I like the down and dirty, like, oh my God, you see this thing in an alley, you're like, I am fucking dead.
I didn't like this. It was treated like a slasher for like the first half, and I really got annoyed by that.
He is on this ship, which means that we will never leave.
May God have mercy on us all.
It's insane, right?
Are the clown.
I'm something different.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to another Modern Horror Movie Talk. I'm your host, Tyler Nichols, and Lance Velchek back for another one. Lance, how you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy. How you been?
Oh, not too shabby. I'm excited to talk about today's movie because today we are covering The Last Voyage of the Demeter. So this is a movie that I've really been looking forward to because I like me some gothic horror, and Dracula is one of my favorite stories of all time. And so really looked forward to this. And I had the fortune of talking to some journalists about, I don't know, like 2 months ago that had seen this. And so I was able to pick their brains a little bit about it. And one of the main things that stood out to me that they told me was it's a slow burn. And that to me is very appealing. So I went into this expecting a slow burn, got a slow burn, and really enjoyed that. But I did still have some issues with it. I would say my reaction to this is kind of similar to Evil Dead Rise, where I still really enjoyed the movie, but because of the fact that everyone else seems to be talking about the positives, I do feel like I need to talk about some of the negatives. So what did you think of the movie?
Overall, non-spoilers, I would say it is fine. I guess very similar to Evil Dead, though I didn't have the backstory to this like you did. I think you're the one who told me about Dracula. It's fine. I think it's a movie that maybe the style I liked more than the substance. Acting was really good. The set design was great.
Yeah.
The mood was great. I think my actually big issue is it didn't work as a slow burn for me personally. I was very like almost anxious for a good chunk of this. Where I'm like, okay, it's like a slasher, but I'm like, okay, let's go, guys. But I also love myself a good galleon ship. I'm very like, I'm not a sandals and swords kind of guy. I'm more of like, if I'm in the past, I like pirates. I like rum. Yeah. I like sea shanties.
Haven't we already established that you like Master and Commander?
I do. Yeah. I have people like that nobody knows what. Yeah. Even
bullshit. Those comments were all on your side.
Well, I feel it's a classic movie. There's a game called Black Sails. That's an Assassin's Creed game. It's one of the best games ever. The camera pulls out and you just start traversing the sea. I like that stuff. So I think the setting of this was actually my favorite part. And again, the actors. This is one of those things that we're on the same page. I have complaints. I think just because this could have been so much stronger if it just tweaked a few things, but it's still good. Yeah. And I'm going to come off like an ass today because I'm going to probably complain more, but it's actually not a bad movie at all.
Yeah, I think it's very good. It's been in development for so long. I believe Viggo Mortensen was attached to this for several years. And so I'm just very glad to finally see it get made. And also, so I have some conflicting feelings about the Dracula creature. And a lot of that will go into the spoiler section. But I just have to say, I love when we get a creature vampire, not the charming, have sex with everyone kind of vampire, or the sparkling kind. I like the down and dirty, like, oh my God, you see this thing in an alley, you're like, I am fucking dead. That's what I like. And this absolutely has that aspect to it. And I don't know, I did enjoy that. And I enjoyed some of the characterizations that they gave to Dracula with some of the stuff that he says and like some of the tormenting. And yeah, I really enjoyed his character a lot. And I didn't expect him to be like to kind of have a character since, it's treated as a creature.
Yeah, no, it's basically like a monsterish Nosferatu, if I'm correct, right? And I like that. That it's a classic style, which I find still creepy to this day. Like, I think I saw Nosferatu in film class in high school, and the next time was probably in Joe Bob recently, because I'm not going to revisit like a silent film. It ain't my bag. Yeah. But I like that style. I like that look, and I agree. And they did it really well It's had some up close CGI that I was like, but it seemed mostly practical.
Yes.
At least, and if it wasn't, then that's how you do CGI, because you hide it in the dark.
Yeah.
But I agree. I was like, okay, I like the vibe and the style and how they blocked and moved the creature. And I agree. I've told you before. I've told everybody in the show. I'm pro monster to a level of I always want everything to be a monster if it's going to be supernatural. So this is my kind of bag for sure.
Well, and did you notice too? There was a couple weeks ago, we talked about this movie called Cobweb, and the lead actor from Cobweb is actually in this movie, Woody Norman. He is the little boy. And I'll say right now, I didn't love the character, but I was real pumped to see him show up, because I'm like, yes, Cobweb.
I agree. I think you mean the only people that are talking about Cobweb, because it seems like the company that made it is bearing it.
Yeah, it came out digitally this past Friday. So
I had no idea until I saw some tweet about it, and I was like, where? And I was like, oh, so I have to search for it? Fools.
Yeah, not on any streaming service. Just came out like digitally that you can purchase or rent.
Yeah, but they forgot the important part of marketing, which is marketing. So who knows? Yeah, I think Woody Norman's a good actor, and I didn't mind his skill set in this. But man, I'm not a big fan of putting kids in movies for the sake of it, and this is a very big for the sake of him being in the movie. Like, it didn't make any sense.
It gave the captain some like, that's the whole reason he's retiring, and like, I get it.
He could have like said goodbye to the child in France or whatever. But
it adds stakes. I like that, because it adds the stakes, because you're like, there's no way they're going to kill off a kid. And so that tension, because that's one of the things that I actually really enjoy, because I wondered going into this how they were going to treat this is not a spoiler for those wondering, because it's literally the first scene of the movie where they find the Demeter crash with no one on it. And so it's like, even with that caveat, we were like, ooh, so how does the little boy escape? Because there's no way they're doing anything with that. And so I like that they added the stakes, because otherwise it's like you're just kind of waiting for these people to die, like a slasher. And so even though I didn't like the kid, I still enjoyed that they tried to, make me care.
Yeah, fair enough. I didn't find the stakes. To me, it almost just seemed it was stakes for the sake of it. Like, I wasn't connected to anybody. So I was just like, we got to worry about this kid. Like, then he befriends Clemens, and I'm like, ugh.
See, I actually was connected. I was connected to Clemens because I love Corey Hawkins. And then I was shocked too at how much I really enjoyed Anna. The actor's name is Aisling Francoisi.
Good for you looking up. I actually just wrote down, and I was like, don't try it. I don't want to mess it up.
I like both of them a lot, to a degree, especially with Anna, where I kind of just expected her to be a very, I don't know, stereotypical character where she fills a role. And so I was really surprised of like, oh, she actually has a little bit of characterization. This is nice.
I mean, I think all the actors did well. I'll give you that. But I'm just going to state off, I had no emotional stakes at all. Like, I didn't at one point ever feel connected to anybody here. I do think they tried. So it could just be, I didn't connect with it personally. But I will admit, though, it did make an effort, though it didn't work for me, to humanize and have an emotional core to this movie.
When's the last time you emotionally connected to a person in a movie?
Hold on, it was not that long ago. What did I just see?
20 minutes later.
It was something. It had to be something. Yeah, it had to be something. I'm a soulful guy.
I mean, I think of you as very cynical.
Yeah, but it still works, man. It's still you can still get me, man. Yeah. But for this, again, it's so close. It's so close. That's why I almost feel like I'm bragging on this. But it's like, dude, they really tried it. I'm happy, because this could have easily been a very, I don't say cheap per se, but there could have been, I would say very standard. But about we're over. We got some people dying. So they did try to like add some heart. They really did. Just missed it by an inch.
There's some stuff in this that I love the design of Dracula so much, and I like the tension for those scenes. But I hate the fact that as soon as Dracula shows up, all tension is gone, and it's just like, okay, because he quickly turns into a CGI creature, and then it's like, oh, quick throat slash, and then it's done. Every time it was that. Where then I'm like, oh
It
my
was
God, give
the
me
same-
something.
Yeah, well, I didn't like this. It was treated like a slasher for like the first half, and I really got annoyed by that. Because okay, maybe the first 2 people that die, we established them. That's cool. But dude, by like the last 20 minutes, I'm like, what are we still doing the same thing? It's like,
Yeah.
it's, I got really annoyed because by the middle half, where the people knew that something was wrong and shit had to go down, right? But they still sent one guy up at night, and they always like, decided to do something at the wrong time. I was like, like they search a cabin. They're like, okay, well, let's just spread out, sleep separately, and then good luck. And then somebody dies. Like, what happened? It's like, bitch, get in the same room. Like, I almost felt like, they played the same card way too much. Because by I would say the last quarter of the movie, I was visibly annoyed because I'm like, what is the plan here?
Yeah.
Why are we searching for things at night? Ever.
Yes.
Ever. Anything always happens at night. That's when people die. So why not, like, in the morning, you guys get together, and then why not sweep it? And they didn't
nighttime. You should be holed up, like, all together.
Like, I get the first act, even maybe into the middle of the second, because we're establishing. But there is a good chunk where it's like we know something's killing people. We know it's not the crew.
No.
And the way they went about it is like, okay, well, we'll just put 2 men on the deck.
Yeah.
It's like, how about you put no of them or all of them? I don't know. I didn't,
Yeah. I got really annoyed when they did the the crewman on the top standing watch gets killed and disappears. They repeat it twice. It's not back-to-back scenes because it's broken up with like the daylight scene of them being like, where's so-and-so? But it is one of those things where it's like, why are you guys repeating the exact same beat? Like, I don't need the exact same beat over and over. So I agree that aspect just kind of gets really annoying. And like the kills themselves just don't really land. I think that's probably my biggest complaint, is that the kills pretty much all suck. I mean, other than I was shocked that they had the balls to kill Woody Norman. Like, that was cool.
So yes. The thing that I hated the most was blood transfusions. I just found that very annoying. I didn't like it in Near Dark, and I'm sure shit not going to like it in the 1800s. And I felt that was a way to sort of like, they killed the kid, but then we stretched it out, and it's like, no, it's about love. It's like, how about the kid's head is on a fucking, stake in the room? That would have been better. This was like, he's dead, but we're going to bring him back. And I just was like, I'm not connecting. Like, have balls and do something, like break the captain then, but
Well, then we got that awesome moment of of him like getting lit on fire and going after the captain, which the special effects on that were fantastic. Usually I hate CGI fire, and the CGI for all of the burning up elements, fucking awesome. Especially Anna getting getting all ashy at the end. It is done so well, because we've seen that effect done in 30 Days of Night. Midnight Mass does a great one, and so it's like we've seen good examples of this, and I think that they did such a good job with this. The peeling, the flaking off, and
I was going to say, it almost seemed like it almost came on like acne, which I thought was really interesting. These little like red bumps that would then sort of like blister, and I was like, that's a very cool. And I agree, even though with the girl at the end, Anna. And this is me being an asshole, but like, why is she on the actual like, porch that she could sit on? And the other guy just holding. I was like, bitch, just like lay on your back. Like, why is the guy on like the bow that's in the water with all the sharks, and she's on like the platform? Like, why would we do that?
I had the exact same thought, where I was just like, why does she get this? But then all I could think was like, well, I guess she has to be out of the water so that then all the sun can hit her, I guess.
If she laid on her back and floated in the ocean like I do, she would have been, I don't know. But no, the effect was very cool. I agree. The problem with the kid thing is I just felt wasn't attached personally. So I was just like, dump the fucking kid over. Let's be over this. And the captain's like, he's still moving. It's like, oh, it's this, man. Like,
So I was attached until this kid gets locked in the room and then he comes out to investigate. That was the moment that I'm like, I can't wait till you die. I'm rooting for your death at this point because you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool, though, in the room, though, when he's under the table. And I think Clemens looks through the hole that the one guy was punching through. Mm-hmm. You just see like Dracula in the corner, all creature-like, and the kid's like singing from the table. Yeah. And I do appreciate that Dracula does kill him at that point. I just wish he stayed dead, so then it would, to me, it would have been more of a we're in trouble. But I hated the transfusion because to me, it was just kind of cheap. I'm like, God, dude, just like let people die. And the reason I did is so that we could have the girl.
Yeah.
But I almost prefer, like, how about she wasn't bitten, but he was like going to bring her as a snack and we got her up first. And then we could have just had her the whole time. I didn't need her being like sickly.
That was one thing I was a little confused about. So,
why didn't she turn then?
Are we to assume that then all of those crates are filled with other Annas?
I thought they were, but then they opened them and there was dirt. So I was like, well, did you look deeper? Because it made it seem like that was all of his food, food supply.
That's what I had assumed. This is just vampire lore in terms of Dracula stuff. He needs to have the earth from where he's born. Like he needs to have that to be able to properly sleep. So
is that what that was?
That's why that is why I know that they were bringing a bunch of dirt, but I just assumed that he also had bodies in the dirt.
Okay, that's actually kind of cool. I was wondering what the dirt was about. I actually thought it was people put like cocaine in coffee. I thought it was just to sort of hide it.
Yeah.
But okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. They actually, because it's in Dracula, the actual book, but the TV show What We Do in the Shadows was finally the one that like they do that as a plot line, and I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of an element of vampire lore that kind of got like lost, and I kind of enjoy it.
Okay. I liked it. I dig that he had the cane and stuff.
Yeah, the whole ending section, that was cool. I liked that they didn't make him all suave. It's like, yeah, he's in the top hat and everything, but he's still a fucking creature.
So here's the thing. I like that, but it also, to me, is kind of funny because I'm thinking like, people in that time were, that wasn't too far away from the burning witches thing. Some fucking monsters walking around here, just like,
Even if it like leprosy, like this guy has leprosy, get this out of here.
They would have killed him, or they would have tried to kill him the moment he stepped off board. I mean, I didn't like that. The ending, the last 25 minutes, I just didn't like because they established, and I thought it was kind of a cool little, I don't know, plot twist, but a good explanation. Like, okay, he was like, people were the rations for Dracula because he was waiting to get on land, right? And so they established there's land. Like, I could swim to it probably with a raft or like some buoy. I mean, I'm not good swimmer enough to swim by myself. Dracula could have just left at that point. He didn't need to have a whole fight. And I'm like, they established he just needed to get the land. Why is he not just flying over to the dark land right there and just starting a new life? Why is he even fucking around with Clemens and the girl? And I like his last name. It's David something. I can never pronounce it, but he's Wojciech.
Oh, yeah, David Dasmalchian.
Yes, and he was good. He was good. Accent was a little off, but I mean,
really? I liked his accent. I also liked too that he felt like he was a different role than usual, because actually going into this, I thought that he was going to be playing the Renfield character, because in Dracula, Renfield is actually on the Demeter.
No, he was my favorite part of the movie because he was an asshole, but they actually did not just make him like a bad guy.
Justified asshole. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like he was actually reasonable. Like, and I think he grew at the right time. Where, I feel like a worse movie would have him be an asshole to the very end, where it's like, okay, but like midway through, he's like, oh, okay, fair enough. Something's going on. I was like, I like this, but
and it's not like he sacrificed himself or anything. Like they still keep him true to his.
Yeah, and he was the next captain. I thought that was a cool little thing. And him and Clemens, they played off each other well because there's like man of science and kind of a man of faith in a way,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I'm trying to think of anything else because I feel like that we pretty much have covered everything that I want to talk about. What would your rating be for this?
Well, right now it's a 6. It could be a 7. I'm going to have to watch it again because let me just sum up my feelings with a spoiler. I love the setting, but I don't like that they hid Dracula as much as they did, because at this point, we know what Dracula is. You don't have to make him the main character. I don't have to follow him over the shoulder. I almost felt his presence should have been a little more tied in the story, as opposed to like every night he comes, slashes one guy's neck, and then disappears for 45 minutes. I was very bored by that.
Yeah.
So I wonder if this could have been trimmed down 20 minutes, if maybe that would have been a little more interesting, because it is too long, absolutely. But I feel like that's a lot of movies nowadays. So it gets a lot right. Corey Hawkins, David, what's his face? I'm sorry. Dasmalchian. Liam Cunningham, Woody Norman. All the acting's good. The setting's good. The Dracula's cool. But man, just I felt like it wasted too much time, to where like maybe I'm too much of a cynic. Maybe I'm like, I'm too old. I've seen stuff. So I almost want this either get to the point, or it needs to be more intense, because some creature flying, taking off a neck and then just disappearing for a day just didn't hit me the way that the girl behind me was like screaming when it did.
Yeah, I mean that's my biggest thing is the CGI on Dracula, because it takes all the tension out. The what is his name? Algarin, the guy who gets turned into the monster fighting through the wall.
Yeah.
So there's a great scene where he first sees the creature, very tense. He's on top of the ship.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what I wanted more of, and I feel like unfortunately it was a lot of just again CGI, like the creature quickly jump scare attacking someone, which that's just not my kind of thing, and so that part is disappointing. But I did really enjoy Dracula himself, and I loved anytime he spoke and like he was clearly fucking with people. There's a nice callback to to the novel, because the captain ties himself onto the whatever the stern, and then he like keeps Dracula at bay with a cross, but then he gets exhausted, so Dracula goes away. So they allude to that. He holds up the cross and Dracula still goes after him, because this version of Dracula isn't like, there's no religious aspect with him. So I really enjoyed that. But yeah, again, there's enough elements that annoyed me. And so I would still give this a 7 out of 10, because I did really, really like many elements. And I think with a second viewing, it could either go up to an 8 or down to a 6, either like one way or the other.
And I agree. This could go up if because maybe what annoys me now, I just accept. I don't think it would go down per se, but I agree. It's either going to go up to a 7 or it's going to stay a 6. I just wish I liked it as much as people. But that's the thing about, I think, film criticism now that makes me feel, I think, too old or just too weathered, which is hyperbole. Everybody can love something or it is absolutely terrible. And I'm not saying I'm the king of nuance here, but I read a bunch of social media posts this morning before we talked, and people were like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" And I'm like, "Fuck, where, man?" But then again, I don't also. If people are like, "It's the worst thing ever made," it's just I don't know. I wish I could feel that. Those manic highs or lows. But a lot of times I'm like, Evil Dead Rise, like,
yeah,
good. This beautiful looking movie, good acting, some really cool parts, good.
I think that pretty much sums it up. I enjoyed it, but it was nothing. I mean, this was my most anticipated film of the summer, and so there's always going to be a bit of disappointment when it just becomes it was fine kind of film. So
we had Cobweb, and we both agree that was the biggest surprise for us. So
yes, well, and I mean, you guys will see on the channel maybe later this week, I'm going to do a Fantasia sum up, and I'll say right now, Fantasia is where all the great movies were at. So there's still some hope with the summer horror, because I guess some of the main releases haven't been hitting quite as hard, but at least indie's still doing well.
And we're the hardest.
But that's really all. I'm actually going to try something new. We're not going to announce next week's video. You guys will just have to tune in and see, because next week's video could change every which way. We're going to try to make sure we're a little more able to change things on the fly based on what you guys are wanting, what you guys are wanting for us to cover. So without announcing things, that just gives us a little more leeway. So yeah, that's really all. Thank you guys for joining. Lance, thank you for joining. Let us know in the comments what you thought of Last Voyage of the Demeter, and also let us know what you would like to see us cover in the future, especially anything that you want to see Lance on the show specifically for. So yeah, let me know, and see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.